Hey, I'm Matthew, a tasty chef and producer, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make some impressive show-stopping dinners. I love beef Wellington because it's a show-stopping dish. Beef Wellington is a great test of a chef. It's one of the most challenging dishes you can make. I think this dish is perfect for a special occasion. So when you sear the beef, what you really want is a dark brown, crispy crust. And this process of searing is called the Maillard reaction. The Maillard reaction is basically just proteins breaking down when they reach a certain temperature, and that gives you your dark crust. It's important for great flavor and complexity with beef. So for me, some of the best food will hit on many different types of flavors and notes, and so beef Wellington kind of hits a little bit of everything. It is super meaty and savory and salty, and the mushrooms are very rich and complex, and then you have a little bit of spice, some nuance from the English mustard that hits your nose. You have like your super buttery, flaky puff pastry. So when you put a piece of beef Wellington in your mouth, you have a tiny little bit of all those flavors together, and it just mashes together perfectly. When I was 18, I left my hometown to go to culinary school, which means I'm always away from my family, except for Christmas and New Year's. And when I am home, I always make our holiday dinners. Food is an expression of the heart, and this over-the-top, gorgeous beef Wellington is a great way to show my family just how much I miss them. Creating show-stopping entrees is all about taking the time to cook for the people you care about. The dish has been around for years and years. Gordon Ramsay was kind of the person to sort of modernize it in a lot of ways. You didn't have to do the same duck liver pate. You didn't have to do all the old techniques. You were able to update it with stuff like prosciutto and mustard. I grew up being in awe of chefs like Dan Barber, Thomas Keller, Wolfgang Puck. People who really push the boundaries of what the food world is, as well as food media game changers like James Beard and Julia Child. When I make a dish like this, it makes me feel like my idols that I grew up loving would be impressed with what I do, and that gives me a lot of comfort and gives me a lot of joy. I know if I work hard, one day I'll be a major player in the food game, and I hope to become an inspiration to other young cooks out there. I like to cook these dishes because they are a challenge that push me to grow as a chef and as a producer at Tasty. These are just a tiny percentage of the food that amazing chefs I've worked for have taught me over the years. Tasty reaches millions of people, and I want to teach them all the classics, expose them to something new, and inspire them to be adventurous in the kitchen. This is just the beginning. To me, cooking is so primal, innate, and hands-on, and having great food is essential to having a great life. Chicken Marsala is a simple dish that people get easily wowed by. This is a dish you can make on a random Tuesday, and your family or your partner will love it. There's so many dishes that are similar to chicken Marsala. The techniques in this dish are used in thousands of other recipes. It's just about applying them to this simple dish and mastering the techniques so that the final product is delicious. What I love about chicken Marsala is that it has very earthy flavors that comes from the searing of the chicken and from the mushrooms. It's nice because you can use Marsala, which is a pretty common wine, but if you don't have Marsala, you could really use any type of deep red wine. It's great to finish off a bottle you have at home. Again, it's a really approachable dish that, if you do it correctly, can impress. What's great about chicken Marsala is it's very subtle and buttery, and it kind of just creeps up on you. If you don't cook very often, this is an easy, approachable recipe. It's all about the flavor components that you're pairing together. If you hit all the important steps, you'll have a dish that will impress. This is a great show-stopping weeknight dinner. The chicken will be super succulent and tender, it will melt in your mouth, and the creamy sauce should cling to the pasta and chicken. Eventually, cooking at home will be easier for you than ordering out. Also, nothing is better in this world than surprising a loved one with a bangin' weeknight dinner they didn't expect. So with this recipe, I want to be clear, I'm completely aware that this is not traditional, but I thought this would be a cool twist on a popular Italian dish by fusing it with a classic French dish. Ratatouille is basically a tomato and vegetable stew with lots of French herbs. And lasagna is a classic Italian dish that's been passed down through so many families that it's eventually come over to America. When creating a show-stopping vegetarian entree, I wanted something as satisfying and filling as a lasagna and something that had as much vegetables as a ratatouille. Combining these two was perfect because it took the best aspects of a ratatouille and all of its amazing rich flavors and it had a really great layering aspect that came with the Italian lasagna. Neither are completely traditional because they were put together, but that's sort of what's great about food. It's basically a universal language that we all understand. It's more exciting to be able to learn from the best things every country has to offer and combine them together to make something new and exciting that you can be thrilled to try. When I was a little kid, one of the first fusions I ever tried was combining grilled cheese and ham, because I thought that would be delicious. And we called them grilled chams, and now I fully realize it was just a grilled cheese sandwich with ham. But now, that same type of curiosity is what I take into creating foods now. To me, recipes are just guidelines. The person who took the time to write the recipe, if you follow what they do, you should get the same result that they got. But that doesn't mean that you have to. If you want to experiment and try something new, you can make every recipe your own. In order to grow as a cook, you really need to take that leap of faith and really experiment. Don't be bogged down with the rules of the world. If you love two different types of dishes, combine them together. Make them something new and exciting that you can then share with your friends. This is the perfect show-stopping entree to bring to a vegetarian friend's house, or just if you want a lighter alternative to the rest of these meaty options. Speaking of which, here's a bacon-wrapped prime rib recipe. So this final recipe is a showstopper you're gonna wanna make to give an entire crowd a cardiac arrest. For the prime rib, we're doing this reverse sear method, which is the opposite of what we did with the beef Wellington. What you're doing is ensuring that all the meat on the inside is cooked medium rare, and then you're just going to cook the outside at a high heat to get that nice Maillard reaction, brown bacon flavor you want. So the thought behind this dish was basically, I wanted something that was a complete monstrosity, but you were intrigued nonetheless. And it tasted great. Every once in a while, people just want something that's gonna blow their mind, and that was the goal of making this prime rib. It never fails to shock me how easily people are impressed with good food. You can make a simple dish that just tastes great, and people act like you reinvented the wheel. So when I walk in with my food offering, I really want to blow people's socks off. I want them to talk about the food I made for them to their friends. And nothing impresses a crowd more than a huge piece of meat. Something like this bacon-wrapped prime rib is perfect for when you want to be the winner at a party. And I guess at the end of the day, that's why we all love show-stopping food. Because we all love that moment of shock and awe on someone else's face when they just can't wait to dive into the food you cooked for them. So growing up, my family always cooked in the kitchen. I spent every waking moment in the kitchen, and I would watch food television all the time. And I just knew I wanted to work in food my whole life. And basically, knowing what you want to do at a young age, it makes you become a huge planner. It's never not cool to be the hard worker. It's never not respected to be someone that works hard. This is what I wanted to do with my life. So I love when I make food that I know I put time and care and love into. When I pass it off to someone else and I just see their face light up, it brings me a lot of joy. This is why every meal I try and cook myself, why I work my butt off every day, and why I try to make everything I do be the best it can be. My entire life revolves around cooking, and I love it because it allows me to connect with other people and tell stories through food. Everyone has some favorite food memories. Tell me some of yours.
Oh, yes.